Hey guys, this is Josh from the Ethics Board Roleplay Presentation Group 2. And the case that we chose as a group is Case 1, titled Withdrawing Ventilators from COVID Patients. And the case comes from the New England Journal of Medicine. In essence, the case revolves around the concept of mechanical ventilation. And as the case alluded to, during COVID, there was a high demand for ventilators because COVID ravaged people's respiratory systems, and a lot of respiratory failure was ensuing. So patients needed mechanical ventilation at an all-time rate, and in some countries there was simply not enough ventilators to go around. So the question that is morally prevalent in this case is whether or not physicians should allocate the ventilators from one patient to the next if they deem that the patient that is on the ventilator is not going to make it, and they give it to the patient that they deem can benefit from treatment of mechanical ventilation. So, some of the bioethical principles that I personally believe are at work in this case are autonomy, utility, and equity. And we see that Zaxifs et al. 2020 from their article Asian Bioethics Review, detailed in the chapter the bioethical principles of utility and equity, basically on the basis of discrimination and how utility leads to discrimination, discriminating people on some of the comorbidities that uh, accompany COVID, making their symptoms worse, and equity leads to less discrimination. So, for my personal recommendation and argument, I think the case hit the nail on the head that when physicians deem that their patient is not going to make it and they have to allocate ventilators, I think it's wise for the clinicians to proactively engage in discussions with patients and their families, regarding do not intubate orders, maybe DNR orders for high risk subgroups, instead of them pulling the plug, so to say, and giving the ventilators, taking it away from them. I believe it's their autonomy, as I mentioned here on the slide, their autonomy to choose how their end of life decisions should go. And I don't personally believe that it's the physician's job, or they're not in the right place to be able to take that ventilator away from the patient or their family members without them knowing, just because that they deem that the patient's not going to make it. And I think equity ties directly into that, because I think every patient should have a fair shot at being treated, and they shouldn't be discriminated against because of their comorbidities. And again, the physician doesn't have the right to pull the plug just because that they deem that the treatment is futile. It's basically what the patient wants and what their family wants, and I don't think it's morally permissible for the physician to make that call. And like I said, at the onset of this slide, the physician should get together with the patient and their family members when they can foresee their condition taking a turn for the worst, and they can decide, the patient and their family can decide together how they want their family member, their loved ones, end of life decisions to be made. And I think that is a right step in the right direction, enforcing autonomy and equity. So thank you guys. Have a good day.